Good day. Today we're going to discuss preventive maintenance procedures on the Midmark M9 series and M11 series. M9 and M11 are basically the same machines. One has a 9-inch chamber, one has an 11-inch chamber. A lot of them use the same parts aside from a door gasket, but the preventive maintenance protocol is basically the same. First, we're going to check the exterior of the sterilizer for dings, rust, anything that could extenuate any circumstances, and we look pretty good, bearing in mind this is a 14-year-old sterilizer. It's in very good shape. Our next step is to open the door, manipulate the door latch, make sure it moves freely. Okay. Take something non-conductive, your pen or screwdriver, stick into the bottom rung of the door latch and make sure that we have a positive click that ensures us that the door switch is working. Bear in mind this is a PM and not a repair. Our next step is to inspect. I'll move the sterilizer so we can all share in on this. The dam and the door gasket. If the door gasket does not retain well, that means if it has a sag in it, if it's awfully loose, if you can swivel it, the door gasket needs to be changed. The only way to tell if the door gasket is leaking, however, as you all know, is to pressurize the machine, which we will do in a few minutes, and we'll resume the video after we pressurize the machines, and inspect the bellows and the steam components. Second step is inspect our door springs. We want to make sure we have at least one intact door spring at a 4 o'clock angle, like so. Sterilizer will not function properly without the door springs. Okay, let's set the sterilizer back up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, bear in mind, this is an excellent opportunity that could lead you into a service call or a maintenance contract on the sterilizer for cleaning. In a very diplomatic way, point out to the doctor or the lead assistant or the honcho, there's a little bit of debris in the chamber. The cleaning efforts could be redoubled. We will be happy to do this for you on a bi-monthly basis. Again, it's a moneymaker. And let me add another word of advice, ladies and gentlemen. Please stock basic parts after you're in your territory for a while and get a feel for the prevalent brand and manufacture and make of your sterilizer in your territory. Stock parts appropriately, because this could be an immediate part sale, an immediate sale for you right here while you've got the sterilizer tore apart in a PM mode. You could either sell a preventive maintenance kit or part it out individually, like your door springs, your dam, and your door gasket. Okay? Our next step is going to be in the chamber. We're going to take a light and we're going to use our tactility on our fingers and actually feel the strike surface on the chamber where the gasket meets. And we feel a little rough. I feel a little bit of burring. You can take some very, very fine emery cloth, triple aught, 3-0. This is called the periphery. Give the periphery a little polish. To ensure a thorough and steam-tight seal. Our next step is going to be removing the tray rack. The trays have already been removed for time in our video here. A lot of people have problems with this tray rack, ladies and gentlemen. You want to pull forward. Be careful, it can cut you. It's sharp. Pull, 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 and it will expand. Set the tray rack and the tray platform aside. We're going to do a visual inspection of the chamber for rust spots, growtiness, crap, rust, and this looks like a very well and very clean maintained sterilizer. Never recommend a cleaner to a doctor that's not the factory recommended cleaner for the sterilizer, by the way. We'll run our fingers. Now, the sterilizer is cool, bear in mind, okay? We'll run our fingers over the elements. The elements feel smooth. I don't feel any pitting on them. I don't see any rust or any splits, which lets me know the elements are good. At the back of the chamber, we will move to the water level sensor, which is the round disc located at the end of my finger. It looks good and clean. We'll look up about 1 o'clock from there and we'll see a prong sticking out. That is our temperature sensor, ladies and gentlemen. What we'll do is take the same emery cloth that we cleaned the periphery of the chamber with and give this a nice little buffing. Not too hard, just a nice little buffing. This is responsible for every function of the sterilizer, ladies and gentlemen. Now, on a Midmark sterilizer, it's a very convenient sterilizer, very easily serviceable sterilizer. We stress in class to record your serial numbers of your sterilizers. This is very important. The the serial number on a Midmark is located in the front of the sterilizer. There's also a duplicate serial number on the back of the sterilizer. However, to keep you from having to turn it around, there's your serial number right there. They usually start with a Charlie Zebra CZ. Okay, be sure and record that serial number for your protection and everybody's protection. Okay, let's move up. Check the keypad for delamination. Delamination, we want to make sure everything's smooth. We don't feel any raised ridges or see any cuts in the membrane, and we look good. Now, our next step is to remove the access cover at the very back left hand of the machine. Now, we're going to zoom in here a little bit. You can stick your fingers in there like that, or your finger in the hole. Pull this out, it just clips in. Set it aside. Set it aside, okay? We'll have a opaque plastic reservoir cover, which we will set aside. This will expose the reservoir and the safety valve. Ladies and gentlemen, the PM calls to release the safety valve during pressure. Do not release the safety valve during pressure unless you have a replacement safety valve in stock and you're sure of it. Usually when you interrupt the integrity of the safety valve, they rarely ever seat back and it calls for a replacement. Then again, another revenue generator right then. Have it in stock. A sterilizer is an emergency item. A sterilizer is an emergency item. Please try to stock at least the safety valves and door gaskets for them, guys, okay? Now let's move into the reservoir. We want to make sure the reservoir is very free of funk and debris, which it is. We want to visually inspect our condenser tube for cracks, corrosions or pits, and everything looks good. Now we're going to leave the lid off, we're going to leave the top off, and we're going to run this a cycle so we can perform some steam checks and a bellows check or a steam trap check. We will tune back in as soon as the sterilizer is up to temperature. Hey, we're back. We have pressurized the sterilizer. We're well into the sterile cycle. Inspecting the LED, you want to make sure all the LEDs and the numbers are complete. And we're missing part of one of the numbers on the right hand side, which does not affect the performance of the sterilizer, but it is a potential sale for a touchpad for you on this machine. Touchpad is available from RPI through parts at dentalfixrx.com. Okay, we're going to inspect around the door for leaks. We'll take our glasses or take a mirror, go around the door periphery and see if we see any fogging, which we don't. We don't see any water on the counter under the sterilizer. That lets us know the safety valve is held and that the door gasket's good. In our reservoir, we do not hear the steam trap escaping anymore. We don't see a lot of unusual condensate from the steam trap. Steam trap should close between 190 and 210. The steam trap is not available in the preventive maintenance kit. That's another service call. Okay? So, essentially we have performed our PM. What we're going to do is reassemble the reservoir top, thusly going to hit stop. That will vent the machine out, allowing us to open the chamber. Now, while we're letting the chamber vent, ladies and gentlemen, the preventive maintenance kit for the Midmark M9 is REI part number MIK080 and comprises the following components: door gasket, door dam, door springs, and the mesh chamber filter, which we went over in the first part of this training video. Good sale for you, and a good solid sale, and a good way for preventive maintenance on the sterilizer. They're going to cost you, so for the first free preventive maintenance, you may not want to volunteer your PM kit unless you want to spend the money for it. However, your check that we're doing right now will ensure almost to 100% that the doctor will purchase the PM kit and retain you for preventive maintenance on the sterilizer in the future. Now we're going to see if the door has enough pressure on it to open, and we're fine. Let's hit this over here. Stop, so we're not worried about the pesky beep beep. Now, we're going to reinsert the tray rack. Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the most important part in the preventive maintenance procedure. The tray rack has a lip on the front and a catch under it. If you can see by my finger, the lip and the catch correspond with the front lip on the sterilizer. The rear of the tray has a flange that goes up to ensure that it doesn't touch the temperature probe or the fill line regulator or the water sensor in the machine. So you stick this in and compress it as you go in. Lift up, and there we are. Take your flashlight and ensure that you're not touching the temperature probe and that you're completely covering the water level sensor. Ladies and gentlemen, if you insert a tray back in here, or if this machine is overloaded and anything touches that temperature probe where the light's concentrated at, it will read the temperature of the platform in the tray instead of the chamber, and will fail the cycle every time, ladies and gentlemen. Again, on any PM, always check your doctor's spore tests. Ask if he is using a spore test service monthly, which he should be. You can even go a step further and call back and say, "Hey doctor, I want to see how your spore results turned out after RPM. Just checking, want to make sure everything's fine." That will endear you to the doctor and show that you're absolutely concerned about his practice and his sterilization. Sterilization is very important. Let me stress this again. Any questions that are on this procedure, or any questions about any sterilization, can be directed to myself or Paul. That concludes the M9 M11 Preventive Maintenance Free Service. Have a good day.